Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I am, of course, Nick McDaniel. As always, I am joined by Myron.
Well, hello, folks. Back again to discuss wrestling and some exciting things that happened this weekend. Ooh,
Dude, lots of
where did we find
of
all that
stuff. Yeah, dude. No, look, lots of stuff happened this weekend. We're going to dive into it. Contextually, real quick, Myron, I do want to pull that out there because it is going to matter. We're recording this on a Sunday afternoon, and it matters because we are going to air prior to, well, anyway, Raw would have happened by this point for a lot of people. But listen, what's really good in context, Myron, if you were a member over on our YouTube channel, Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, or Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, whatever, Tapped Out Podcast Network, over on YouTube, you would have gotten this prior to Raw, so it would completely be in context, right? Typically, that's not a big deal.
Definitely.
Yeah, so make sure you are becoming let's go to YouTube, Tapped Out Podcast Network, like it, turn on your notifications, become a member so you can get the stuff early. And the reason that matters is, like you said, Myron, because we are recording prior to Raw. There are some things that you're going to see on Raw that will change some things, obviously. Because, dude, listen, we by the way, if you are a member on our YouTube channel and you send in your questions, because we are going to do another mailbag episode. We got a bunch of questions this week as well. So, and there was lots, as you can probably imagine, just dozens and dozens and millions of letters that all ask the same question, which we're going to start with. But we just kind of want to get into saying, like, if you are a member on our YouTube channel, we always tell you just go to the front of the line, and we get those on the page as well. So without further ado, Myron, let's jump into the first question that you're so excited about.
And what would it be about? It's from our friend Mitch in Toronto, Canada. I love to have worldwide listeners, even though it's just next door. Mitch from Toronto wants to know, what did you guys think of Bray Wyatt's return to the WWE at Extreme Rules? Well, I think everybody in the crowd agreed with, holy shit, holy crazy reactions to that. Wow.
Yeah, they didn't. Ooh. I mean, they did. Listen, I want to come back to my thing. I saw some people's reactions and they referenced AEW, which I thought was a little overboard, a little too far. But they have done an amazing job. Look, the QR codes, the videos, the clues, all the way up until the payoff, the video package and him coming out. I mean, the reaction he got was just off the charts, dude. It was really, really good. Would you not agree with me? He got. Ooh, here's one for you, Myron. It's not on the notes. Who got the better reaction, Cody at Mania or Wyatt at Extreme Rules? Cody's hard to argue with because there were so many people in the building, so it's not 100% apples to apples. But Bray Wyatt's return was megastar level. Would you not agree?
Well, the thing is, you could never watch anything with WWE and know who Wyatt was. If you were just a WWE fan watching WrestleMania, you probably wouldn't have known the context of what Cody was or what had happened or what had been going on. Wyatt's return was bigger than anything because everybody that's a WWE fan knew exactly what the deal was, and they'd been teasing you and working you up, and finally you explode in this massive ball of energy. I was really confused by the whole thing, though. As much as I enjoyed it, I was confused because I don't know what is the gimmick? What is he going to do? What were all the people in masks are running around? It was a lot. Oof.
We discussed it. We discussed it a little bit, and we were trying, like, I get it. There's lots of ways to interpret what happened. But I always like to say, time will tell, and we will learn on Raw, Smackdown probably, and future PLEs and so forth, where they're going with all of this. I do want to quickly point out, though, I did see two things. One, the people that are like, they botched the spot where he blew out the lantern and like it went out before he actually blew, and I'm like, really? Like, that's what we're gonna do? Like,
didn't notice. I was just enjoying it.
It's not even that, dude. As great as all that was, that's what you want to focus on? That's somebody looking for shit.
Anymore. People aren't happy anymore. They're not happy. The only thing they would do is bash stuff. Georgia's winning football games right now. They're looking a little rough. Nobody can just be happy we're winning football games. So it's a great game. Auburn game on Saturday. I watched that before Extreme Rules. Guys, just enjoy the wrestling. Can't you? This is how cool that was.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it. Enjoy it. What would you at 12 years old? What would you have said when you saw that?
That was
the person
cool
that criticizes everything.
Yeah.
Yes, you wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah. Anyway.
Be 12 years old again.
Yeah.
Fun.
And listen, I don't know if this Marvel guy that they brought on that we've heard, like, he pitched the movie idea to Bray, and that he was the one behind the QR codes, and he was all the stuff they've been doing. If this was his doing, yeah, you might want to freaking keep that guy.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't get too cartoony with his whole gimmick, but I'm excited about something, and that's always good. But it means I'm enjoying something. So, yeah, I think this is good. I don't know who all these people are that they're talking about being in the faction. Could it be the big thing? Is Bo going to come back and be the Fiend, or you're going to have a war? You got to tune in to find out. And they've created the desire to tune in so you can find out.
Yeah, and I think this is the part where we're going to get into, like, hey, remember we recorded this on Sunday prior to Raw, guys.
Yes.
It does matter because, look, I interpreted from what I saw, the Fiend mask basically stuck, looked like a knife through it on the table. Like, so is the Fiend dead? Are we moving past all these characters? Do these guys represent, members of a faction that are coming? Like, we know that supposedly the Wyatt 6 was trademarked, so maybe that's the name of the faction. So does that mean there's 6 people in the faction? Because if that's the case, we open up the door of, listen, I have been from day one saying, like, it's Cross has to be involved. Well, if Cross is involved, Scarlett's involved. So is that 3? Does that count as 3 of the 6? You brought up Bo Dallas. You did, right? You brought up Bo Dallas.
Yeah, I just said Bo Dallas. Yeah. Rowan doesn't work there.
Oh, yeah, because he wouldn't come back if they called him and said, hey, come back and be in the Wyatt family.
I guess so. Probably, yeah.
But Strowman does. Braun Strowman does. And guess what? He's just been destroying people since he got back.
Not a lot of plot to that, just beating people's asses.
Yeah.
Maybe he could use some extra stuff. Sell some merch if he had some, because this is going to be a merch selling machine.
Right.
Once it cranks back up.
Well, dude.
Okay. They're going to do some.
They delivered. Did you see that most people's delivery for their White Rabbit shirts showed up on Saturday? I think, how smart was that? They sold a shit ton of White Rabbit shirts, delivered them on the day he debuted, and then on top of that, you know why? Because now that the White Rabbit stuff's that shirt's probably moved on. Now you're gonna have the Wyatt 6 shirt to sell, or the logo, the butterfly thing, or the whatever that was, the moth thing that they had, or whatever.
What was? Yeah, it was some kind of S-head moth or some shit.
Who knows? But let's go back. I want to talk about this real quick, Myron. So let's not go too far away from it here.
Okay.
If you're talking about guys who are on the existing roster, it's got to be Cross. You just assume. But if you go Dexter or Loomis, he's crazy. He would fit the bill. I'm not. Bo Dallas is not on the roster. Yeah, Strowman's on the roster. Rowan is not. Joe Gacy, everybody's on board on that one, right? Because his character is very similar to that kind of whatever. Grayson Waller's name's coming out because Mercy the Buzzard, basically the one that was out in the crowd that they had a spotlight on, was dressed like Grayson Waller. So everybody's saying his name. And my obvious one is, like, Lily is still being carried around by Alexa. So is she involved?
Why is she wouldn't still be carrying around this thing if it wasn't going to work back into a storyline? I wouldn't think, unless they're just wanting to. Oh, they're probably selling the hell out of Lily dolls. So, wow.
I'd love to know, after his return, did the Lily dolls pick up? Did the sales for Lily dolls pick up or not after that? So, anyway.
I've read so many conspiracy theories about all this. Okay, who's going to be in there? Who's not going to be in there? What they're going to be doing? that's the thing about wrestling journalism pages. They're just all just speculation and bullshit. I could sit down and write an article for one of these websites in like 5 minutes, just make a bunch of names and claims of things that will never happen, and people would think it was the gospel.
I mean, no, if you could make it sound like it's plausible, that's a story.
Yeah.
But but listen, that's part of that, Myron. Part of that's the fun. It's all speculation and everything. I agree. But listen, it's an exciting time. My hope is they can keep him at this megastar level. Is he the guy that dethrones Roman? Now think about this. We couldn't think of a guy that we would say could top Roman, right? By the way, do you know he's nearing, like, if he holds till Mania, he'll break 1,000 days as champion.
Holy shit.
And if he goes to Mania, I think he actually passes Pedro Morales for 4th all time, behind Bruno, Hogan, and Bach.
No, I never thought this would happen again. I never thought something like that would happen again. In the last 10 years, did you ever get the idea that something like that would happen again?
I couldn't imagine a guy holding a belt. I couldn't imagine a guy holding the title a year.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was so
breaking
different.
like 3.
Both of them. Both of the titles, too.
Well, he hasn't had them. Yeah, he hasn't held them concurrently for the 1,000. He's held a title for the 1,000, like the Universal.
Yeah.
So. But anyway, so back to the Bray. Now we have a guy who we think could be potentially the guy to dethrone Roman. That's ultimately, look, you've got him, you've got Cody as a possibility. I mean, so many guys now that are at least, now we're like, because here's the thing. People laugh. I still think, and we're going to discuss him a little bit in the next question, I think Seth is a viable option for it as well. But that's a different story, right?
So many things we can do with Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. So anyway, that's hopefully that's enough of a dive for you there, Mitch. But we're going to move on to the next question, Myron.
Okay. Darius from Opelika, Alabama. I've been there. It sucks. What did you guys think of Extreme Rules? I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great pay-per-view. I still call them that. I'm sorry. I can't get used to calling premium live events.
PLEs.
It's good. It stood on its own without the entrance. The pay-per-view could have stood on its own and been fine, and people would have loved it still. I think they're improving. I think they're giving us consistently better product. I think they're saying things about wrestling and talking about wrestlers. Triple H is making positive changes, and I love it. And I love this pay-per-view.
So when choosing the questions, there was a reason that I picked these as 2 different questions. Because on one hand, yes, the entrance, the return of Bray Wyatt was significant enough to stand on its own as a question. Now, had the pay-per-view sucked, people would have went home happy just because of Bray's return, in my opinion.
Yes.
Which is crazy to wrap your head around. But I did not think that the pay-per-view or the PLE sucked. That's my take. It's my opinion. It is what it is. I know some people didn't enjoy it as much as I did, but I thought they did a great job. Listen, I thought the structure of the pit fight thing was pretty cool looking.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know not everybody was down on it.
Ass. Daniel Cormier was so cool. And then when Seth was trying to get the pin up on the ramp or the top thing there, like, you got to come down here, Seth. You can't. And it was cool. It was, and what was that necktie move that Rollins was using on Riddle, trying to get him Peruvian necktie or something, submission holds. It was crazy. Yeah. The whole, there was not a bad. Now there were highs and lows, and there were things I didn't like, but it still was a great pay-per-view. Yeah. You got a lot of good quality, and you got a lot of variety.
Listen, Myron, I wanted to ask your take because we have not discussed a specific match yet. I know a lot of people are really not happy with the fact that Ronda Rousey recaptured the SmackDown Women's Championship from Liv Morgan. The type of match it was, an Extreme Rules match. But 2, my take on it was Rousey put her over and, she put the strap on her.
Made her look great. Yeah.
And I just think in that environment and in the situation they were in, I kind of felt like you had to. And I don't know. I'm not saying Liv had a bad run with the championship, but I don't know that if they saw enough to keep her, as champion, they felt like maybe it was time to move on.
It's Ronda freaking Rousey, for Christ's sake.
Right.
Okay? If she beat me up, everybody would be like, oh, we saw that shit coming, because she's Ronda Rousey. She's a bad woman. She is a legitimate fighter. I would always expect her to win a title match, or just anybody, not just Liv Morgan. It was a good, solid match. Enjoyed it. That was a natural finish, I would say, coming, unless they had more things going on with Liv, and there might have been something more going on with Liv. So,
dude, there's been speculation, like you said, she's going to be in the Wyatt Six.
Yes.
So time will tell.
What do we know too much? Oh, she's got a long run with the title. Well, they should have. No, it's wrestling.
Yeah.
Stop, folks.
That was listen, I've talked to you a little bit off air about Road Dogg, his podcast, and that's the funny thing he talks about. Like, they'll randomly say, like, was Jinder Mahal's title run a failure? And he's like, well, it happened. Like, what do you mean? Was it as received as well as we thought, or we had hoped? Well, no, but that doesn't mean it was bad. So, but like I said, same thing. Like, you got to move on. Like, you've got to do the next thing. You got to try some things.
Yeah.
But speaking of something new, Myron, we saw the first ever women's ladder match for a championship. There was a part of me, I know this sounds weird. I know that the machine is really behind Bianca, but for some reason going into it, I just really thought Bayley was going to win because of her, the faction she's in and the damage control, or
I could have done without the run-in, and that's going to be the things that I didn't like about the show were the two major run-ins. And I know it has to happen whenever you've got a faction. There's no point in being blah blah blah. But I would have loved to see Bayley win. Bayley is a badass. I think very highly of her. Bayley and Sasha was the match she showed me all those years ago to get me back into wrestling. So Bayley's always been special kind of to me. Sasha's great. Not Sasha. Bianca's great. But I didn't understand. I don't know. I didn't understand the thinking, but that's just me. That's just my take on it. I would like Bayley more.
Well, I just assumed they were going to go to full heat mode with, a heel champion, and she's in this group, and they can kind of do their thing. That's kind of why I was surprised by it, and my take. But I was not surprised, by the way, in the Edge Finn Balor match. I was really – it kind of – honestly, I know this sounds terrible. It went pretty much like I thought it would. I didn't hate the ending. I kind of saw it coming, but we will address why later in the show, while we saw it coming.
Yeah, and that was the hard part. That was really the hard part.
But, however – it still proves Edge is a great storyteller, and guess what?
Yeah.
You dislike Dominic, and that's more than you could say a year ago when you just didn't care about Dominic.
Yes, that's one thing. Dominic has got over as a hated character, totally hated character.
Yeah.
Gotta love that for him. That'll actually do him a lot better than his wrestling skills ever will.
Right.
If he can be a hated character, but he don't ever talk, I don't think.
He did talk. That's what I'm saying. He talked between him talking and in his reaction and I think you're getting invested, man. And you know what's jacked up? It's showing how the WWE machine's working right now so much differently because there's another character, Myron. You tweeted or posted or Facebook, I can't remember. Like, you give a shit about Sheamus now.
Yes. How is that possible? Seriously. I've detested Sheamus for years. I thought he was bland, unentertaining, unimaginative. Put him with Walter, all of a sudden, whole new thing. I'm 100% behind it. They've turned out a continually stream of violent, good matches involving those two and their other cronies. I loved it. I mean, Sheamus has really developed as a person to me, and I've picked up on it and enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think that's a lot they've done with those. All 6 of those members involved. but specifically Gunther and Sheamus are coming out like stars. And I think the crazy thing is I don't think we're done seeing them because I think they see the magic in them. And it wouldn't be something as simple as like we've always underestimated Sheamus. And I think because Triple H is close with Sheamus, he knows how much he can help Gunther. That's what I think's happening, but I could be wrong. But I tell you one thing,
the magic is rubbed on them.
Yeah, exactly. It's completely worked out. But I will tell you, Myron, there's something I'm not wrong about, and that's if you're looking for some really cool indie wrestling collectible stuff, you got to check out our friends over at slowpoketoys.com. Hey guys, Nick here at the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, and I'm here to remind you about our friends over at slowpoketoys.com. We told you about them a while back when they made their huge debut up there in Nashville at StarCast, and we told you then it was just the beginning. Boy, we weren't kidding. Since then, they've gone on to add some new items, and you missed them. Did you miss them? Well, why? All you got to do is make sure you're giving them a follow over on all their social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter or more, at Slowpoke Toys. Or, man, just go straight to the source. Go right to the website, slowpoketoys.com, and don't miss out on all the cool indie wrestling collectibles, pins, stickers, magnets, and more. They've even got some more cool stuff coming for Christmas. That's why you want to make sure you're giving them a follow on all their social media platforms. Again, at Slowpoke Toys on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. How involved are they? Man, they've already been working with promotions like AEW Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Revolver, ACW Wisconsin, Black Pro Wrestling, and more. That's right, man. They're making a big dive into the indie wrestling market. And if you're an indie wrestling fan, or you got that special somebody who's an indie wrestling fan, make sure you're giving them a follow at Slowpoke Toys on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And again, check them out right on that website at slowpoketoys.com. That's right, buddy. Check out them over at slowpoketoys.com on their website, and of course at Slowpoke Toys on all social media. Man, I love following them on social media because they're showing you where all the shows they're going to be at and all that kind of stuff. So check them out.
Going around stuff. They got that escargot guy they're taking around. I'm almost going to get all my Christmas presents off that list. I'm going to do all my shopping. I'm going to sit down, order up some stuff for everybody on my Christmas list, and I know they're looking forward to it.
Yeah. But all right, brother, well, let's keep it moving, man.
Yes. We're going to hear from Scott from Schaumburg, Illinois. I know people in Schaumburg, Illinois.
I was just there.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. There. You were just there. Probably met Scott.
I probably met Scott at Top Guy Week. That was weekend. That was probably the case, exactly. But I'm sorry to interrupt, man. Go ahead.
With even more drama involving Sammy and Andrade this past week, would you say Tony Khan has lost the locker room? Well, I don't know if Tony Khan ever had the locker room. I don't know. Maybe Tony needed Cody a lot more than he thought he did.
Well, maybe I don't know, Myron.
Maybe he needs ambassadors in that locker room. Do you think it's legit? Do you think all this stuff is a work or a shoot? Is it a work? Is it a shoot? Is it a work? What do you got, Nate?
You'll never get tired of that joke, will you?
No.
I would not say Tony Khan has lost the locker room. And I say that because I don't know that it was ever his role to have the locker room in the sense. I think he's got people now that's kind of what their thing is. Like I was joking with somebody and I said, listen, if the Andrade stuff is legit and all of it happened, whatever, I just think Andrade wants gone. So
yeah, he's tired of this experiment.
Yeah, it's just not where he wants to be. Listen, and by the way, I always tell somebody, it doesn't matter which side of the fence on you, be consistent. If the WWE should release guys because they weren't being used properly back then, that thing still stands today. My take is, however,
yes,
you have a contract. Well, they're independent contractors. They shouldn't be forced. Okay, pick a side and stay in that lane. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. It's a business.
But I don't think it's indicative of the entire locker room. I think as a whole, they're probably all happy in the grand scheme of things. and it seems to be that way. Now, I do think Tony, they got to be careful because the situation that makes me nervous is if Andrade was punished and sent home for what happened with Sammy, and Sammy was not. The situation would have to, like, I would like to, and look, it's not, they don't. I'll probably will obviously never know, right, what really happened, right? And because you're going to hear, this is the version of the story we're going to let out that was told what happened. But I would like to know what justified that decision. Like, was Andrade that much of the aggressor, and did Sammy essentially, like, was he just defending himself if there was an altercation? But listen, I think they can settle the environment down.
His ass beat in that situation. Yeah, they can settle this environment down a lot.
Yeah.
What's it going to take, Nick? Is it going to take more leadership? Is it going to take somebody like bearing down? Does Tony have to reassert himself as a boss?
A couple bad apples can ruin a bunch, and I think that's the case. Just get rid of the couple bad apples. And when I mean bad apples, I don't mean they're bad people. I think they're just apples that maybe don't want to be there anymore, and then let them go.
Well, yeah, there are guys that don't want to be, and there's guys that are there that don't ever get on television. Look at the Revival. I can't remember what to call them besides the Revival, folks. Sorry. Love that tag team. They're having to work overseas for independence.
They were on TV this weekend, so they'll be all right. But I know what you're saying. But look, I don't, again, without knowing a lot of the details, but I think there's a lot of good people there, and they know who they are, right? They know that there's a lot of good people there. We think amongst other things. Yeah, amongst him, I mean, look, Tony, Mark Henry, Chris Jericho. Look, I mean, clearly Mox has stepped into that role. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah,
people just need overreaction.
I never saw that coming from Mox to be that big leader and mentor type, but apparently he is.
Absolutely. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Whew. That was another Tony Khan question coming up, Nick. Did you guys, this is from Henry from Anderson, South Carolina. Sorry, I wanted to jump into the conversation. Did you guys hear Tony Khan's comment about not releasing win-loss records since August? And if so, do you think they should go back to them?
I did hear it. I can't remember. I think I read it. I don't think I heard it. I think I saw it. There was basically a comment about about not seeing him on TV in a while, and he hasn't done it since August. And my whole take was, I don't think they should go back to him. I don't think they should start releasing because
I don't think they have any business in professional wrestling.
Okay, I disagree with that. Just from the sheer, what I mean by it when I say if I were in their shoes, I wouldn't. And the reason I say that is because some of their best TV has occurred since they didn't have them on. Because when you were using them, I expected you to follow them.
Yes.
And when you did not,
and they have their storyline.
Yes.
You can't have a win-loss record and all of a sudden change directions on the storyline. Okay, it's like having your team is the Atlanta Braves, and they won last year, won the World Series. My team might be, say, the Florida Marlins. I don't even know if they play in the same league. I don't know the jack shit about baseball. Let's be honest. But they don't get the exposure the Braves do because the Braves won last year, But all of a sudden you wanted an epic story. Well, you wouldn't do storylines in baseball, but if you want to build this epic storyline, you have to keep the storylines between the guys up top, and then you'd have to build a guy through long, long weeks of winning.
Well,
get up to where this guy could face this guy, and it just none of this whole analogy made no sense at all that I just tried to come up with. But then I'm take a muscle relaxer, so I'm not really at my best.
Well, but what I'm saying, Myron, is like, you brought it, and listen, by the way, I'm a fan of Mance Warner in the sense, but at the same time, like, why did he get a shot? Because he never even had a match. He didn't even have any rankings or blah, 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 whatever, insert story, right? But if you have a number one contender, then why is he wrestling? I mean, like, 5 should have to wrestle 4, 3, or 2 to climb the ladder. 2 should be your number one contender who's chasing the champion. End of conversation. If you're not, then, like I said, I would rather you just listen. I think some of the reactions of people that are like, why does this guy get a shot at WWE? Because it doesn't matter, because they don't have a number one contender all the time. Do you know when they do? When the Royal Rumble winner or the Money in the Bank has one, they get one anytime they want, and they run with that story. Other than that, it's just a guy that randomly gets chosen by the writing team. So that's kind of my take on ta-da.
I don't like him. I just don't like him. That's my take on it. I think wrestling is more entertainment than it is sports in my book.
Yeah.
And that's why I enjoy it.
Like, win-loss records would matter if you were going to stick with them and be effective with them. They've done such a great job without them. Why go back? That's my take on it, right? And
that's exactly right.
So.
Well, you know what does matter, Nick?
What's
your
that?
Health.
Yeah, that is correct. So, man, we got a new commercial in from our friends over at the Athletic Greens, so check out what they have to say this week.
You're going to need a smaller cabinet, because now you can take all those supplements you're taking or not taking and replace them with this. AG1 by Athletic Greens brings 75 vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced ingredients, probiotics, and adaptogens together in one place. It might just be the most comprehensive and convenient nutritional regimen on the planet. Immunity supporting, recovery enhancing, digestion improving, energy lifting. Made to the strictest quality standards. Made New Zealand. Made for just about everybody.
That's right, man. Check out our friends over at Athletic Greens, man. Give them a thing. athleticgreens.com/emerging. We've been partners with those guys so long, I remember the code. That's scary, Myron. That's a good. But let's keep it rolling, brother. Let's dive right in, because we're hitting in the home stretch here. So we want to talk about something we don't cover.
James from Detroit, Michigan. I know Myron is a big Impact fan, so I wanted to ask you if you saw Bound for Glory, and what did you think about it if you did? Well, unfortunately, I did not see it because I was actually at wrestling. And then the next day, I watched wrestling. And just today, I'm going to talk about wrestling. So I have missed it, and I can't wait to see it, though. I've heard nothing but great things about it. A huge Josh Alexander fan. Honored to have had him on our network. When Lewis interviewed him. Lewis does all our mainline Impact coverage for you on our YouTube. You can get it there. So excited to see Mickie James continue to wrestle. I love Mickie James. I always thought she was one of the greatest. Jordan Grace, women's champion, defeated Masha Slamovich. What did Bully Ray do? What was going on? He won a gauntlet match?
He did. He was a surprise entrant in the gauntlet match. He did get a pick up the win. Listen, man, I'm with you, buddy. I'm like, look, let me ask you, Myron, is it the most underrated product in wrestling right now?
Yes, I really do think so. It sucks that they had the pay-per-view on Friday night. I know, because WWE had a pay-per-view on Saturday night. I wish they'd have been on a different week, but I'm going to catch up with it. I got to watch it later. And it had I not been going to live wrestling, a big live wrestling show we're going to talk about in a little bit, I would have watched this. This would have been my choice. I like everything they're doing. It's getting booked by good people who seem to be wrestling people. They're doing real good wrestling content. Had the WWE not got so much better recently, I would have said they're producing some of the best televised sports entertainment there is.
I don't know if you saw, Myron.
A lot of surprise appearances.
Lance Storm tweeted out that he thinks that if people gave it a chance, he puts their product up against anybody's.
I would too. Yes, I would too. The quality wrestling, quality wrestlers, lots of storyline. It's good. Yeah. It's a really good product, and it's underrated. I don't know why more people don't watch it.
I mean, my thing is they have a very solid champion, Josh Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
Their pay-per-view, they did a surprise with Bully, Dirty Dango, Frankie Kazarian became the X Division champion on there.
Mm-hmm.
You got Jordan Grace as your champion from the Knockouts division. Like Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, I didn't get two shits about for a long time, and now they're doing some good stuff. They had a great match with the Motor City Machine Guns. So, like, I agree with you. I love those guys. I'm just not sure why more people aren't watching. If they could figure it out, if they could get more eyes on it. Listen, as crazy as it sounds, I know Anthem owns it. That's their biggest obstacle at this point. Like, dude, try to get on. Oh, I don't know. I gotta cut before I say that. I was gonna try to say, get on a streaming service or something. But like I meant like anyway. I'm
Well,
not
you
gonna,
remember their old business model where every show is a pay-per-view. You got a weekly pay-per-view instead of a show. I mean, they've done it before.
but I don't mind the
I can't see why
YouTube.
people don't watch more of it.
I don't know. I just wish more people
That's where I
watched.
see them. I watch them on YouTube. Like a delay. I don't have Anthem on my cable package now.
Right.
Since I went to YouTube television, but I'm a YouTube Impact member. The way people are members on our YouTube for Tapped Out.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's a convenient way to watch television. Everything I watch television is online now.
Yeah, I luckily have access on my package, so I do actually get to watch it. So, but yeah,
Cool.
but you brought it up. Oh, by the way, if you are an Impact fan, make sure you do subscribe on our channel. Because we do actually the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. Lewis Carlin, he's a big Impact guy. We share his content. We collaborate with him to put it out there for you guys who are big Impact fans, because he does a great job in diving into it and really digging through the meat of Impact. So definitely check him out. But anyway, the reason we missed it on Friday was obviously we were up the road at Canton. We saw Still Here for Southern Honor Wrestling. Got a big War Chamber match. Team Southern Honor versus Team Southern Dishonor. As you can see there, lots and lots of, monsters in there, literally in that match, in that War Chamber match. Oh. And look, it was a good show. I'm gonna get my editorial out of the way first. Was it perfect? No, but I shared my thoughts. And when somebody asked me, I shared my thoughts, told them, because that's that's what grown men do. They go back there and would say, hey, this is what, what if you're asking my critiques, this is what they are. And then we moved on, right? So I do like that they didn't.
Is Gary okay?
He was busted up pretty good. He's gonna be all right. But like I said, that's why I like that they didn't go with the usual babyface win the War Chamber, War Games, blah blah blah.
Oh,
by the way, we kind of reflect what we were talking about earlier. The Edge I Quit match. Edge quits because they endangered his wife.
Finish.
Huh?
And they still the same exact thing. Edge quit. Beth gets concerto.
Yep.
Gunner quit. Gary gets the light tubes.
Light tubes to the back. They had busted him up, cruel the monster. By the way, if you are a paid member, you're gonna get. There's a video coming that I've got. Something specifically I wanted to talk about Cruel, and the evolution of him over the last year, months, whatever. That's gonna become. It'll be behind the paywall first, and then eventually it will release on the channel. But I want it. I have a high opinion of him, and I want to share some of the thoughts that I have on that character, and the evolution we've seen in the last year. But the show itself. I thought they did a really good job on it. Was there a match other than the War Chamber that jumped out that
that I Quit match was oh no, sorry, last minute standing match. He dropped a casket off the stage on him.
Yeah. Okay.
How the hell do you do that? How the hell do you drop a casket on somebody?
Yeah.
Cyrus. God, that was brutal. I was scared he's going to hurt. Really hurt the guy dropping a casket on him.
Cyrus the Destroyer, living up to his name.
Yeah, they don't call him like Cyrus the guy with the popsicles and things. Yeah. He just destroyed the hell out. I was so excited all night long. It had the energy going on from the moment the DJ started the show. It work you up, you get into the mood, and it was a terrific show. I couldn't even sit down half the time because I was so excited. Chip and Kyle killed it. Oh my God.
Yeah. That 2 out of 3 falls match was awesome. And by the way, because of the ending, we're going to be rewarded with a 30-minute Iron Man match, easy for me to say, at the next show. And what did you find out, Myron?
It'll be number 1 contender spot for the winner.
The winner gets a number 1 contendership for the Southern Honor title. That is correct.
And I saw Chip was posting today that he was looking for open rings to practice in because
he's going to need it.
He gets better. It's gonna be scary, man. And how about Todd? Todd Sexton is a personality now on the show.
He's been
Not just
he's been working in the back, and he's tired of the chaos that's been going on, and he's putting his foot down, and he's going to try to right the ship, and get this locker room straight, because he works hard to run a tight ship there, and then all these other entities are creating chaos.
That would be a good thing for AEW. Would be to hire Todd Sexton backstage.
There you go.
I guarantee none of this bullshit would be going on with them.
Put him on the payroll and put him on the road. Todd, you're welcome. Right? If that were to happen, good luck with that. I don't think he wants that headache, to be honest with you.
Probably not.
Yeah, the DDP Cup, I do want to mention that. It was great to see a lot of that young talent in there getting an opportunity. Nick Kalen was my pick. Him or Narcissism, of course, were my two going in. Teriyaki was my dark horse, pick, and I'm still happy about that.
They showed out really good, man. They really showed off. Everybody, I thought, got a lot of featured. They were featured real well in that young talent. They got a lot of their own shit in. I enjoyed the whole match thing. Teddy Long coming out, holla, holla, holla. That was different. You don't get Teddy Long coming out at every Indy show. But I enjoyed. I thought those young guys got to show off real well. I can't. KJ Impala is my dark horse candidate for the next big talent in Georgia. Older guys got to work. Everybody benefited from that, in my opinion. But that's just me. I enjoyed it.
I agree. That's another one I'd love to talk about, is guys that I think are who to watch in the next 12 months or so, down the road, as we run towards close to the end of the year. Who's the 2023 guy to watch for? And there's a list there. Trust me, there is a list there already.
Yeah.
So really good show. They, big house. Are we surprised at this point? The one thing is when the big events come, the fans come to Southern Honor. Like you can almost, there's certain events, Rumble Jack, Still Here, you name it, they still deliver. And when it comes to the fans, but now we're scrolling in. Look, if this is your 4-year anniversary, that means year 5 starting. So let's see where we are. First Friday in November. I can't remember. I think it's the 4th. Because I think it's my anyway.
Yeah, I'm off that weekend. I remember.
Yeah.
I'm excited for what's coming in that. I wish I could be at Southern Fried coming up. Work schedule's killing me there. But next weekend, I am off work on Sunday. My birthday's on Tuesday. So I'm going to the district on Sunday, and I can't wait.
Yeah, so
that's a great wrestling show.
Yeah. So the coming up weekend, Southern Fried on Saturday. Sunday is the district show. We will be in the house. We are actually looking. I can't even remember why I missed the last one. We were out of town or something. It's my brain is just not that.
You were in Chicago, weren't you?
There you go.
And I was at work.
Yeah, so that's probably why.
And
so Southern Fried this weekend. Looks like a good card, by the way. They posted out the card.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like a good card. CT Keys champion, and obviously going to be on the show against Adrian Hawkins. I saw Buck and Nick Kalen, in a no DQ match. Dude, that'll be off the charts good.
Classic.
Hunter James is going to be wrestling Michael Judas. Judas, do us a favor. He's got the most punchable face in Georgia indie wrestling. Teach the kid a lesson. He needs it. All over the state, he's been needing a lesson. So maybe Judas is the guy to give that kid what he's got coming to him. So we'll see. Time will tell.
Yes.
But so if you want to come hang Saturday night, I will be at Southern Fried. I believe I don't have anything that somebody's locked me up for yet. Sunday, we will be at District celebrating Myron's birthday. So we look forward to seeing you guys down
50.
there. Yeah, the big 50. Be the second one I've done in a couple weeks. So,
Yes.
So we'll have a good time for sure.
Folks, like I said, if you hadn't checked out the District show, you got to check it out. You want to see where all the young talent is honing their skills? that's where it's at. They're one of the upcoming promotions in Georgia. I really do enjoy it when we went. I got to give this massive shout out to one of our friends. I'm looking at this poster for Lariato, and it's got Eric Bischoff. It's got Mike Bennett, Maria Canales, D'Lo Brown, Crazy Steve, Skrilla the Great. How awesome is that, man? Skrilla gets his name on a poster with D'Lo Brown and Eric Bischoff. Dude, kick ass. Man, can't wait to see it again. Skrilla is one of the guys that, I mean, he's tearing Georgia apart right now.
Skrilla's on my list, by the way. That list I was talking about a minute ago. Yeah. 2023 is the year, dude. Pay the fuck attention.
Yes.
That was so he can clip that, because he's the kind of guy who will clip that and he will put that on his social media. So that's why I paused there for a second. So, yeah, so pay attention, because Skrilla's coming, baby, 2023. And I don't think he's letting off the gas in 2022. I think he's starting to accelerate. So when January's here, he's at full steam. So lots and lots of stuff, man. But yeah, so check out the district this weekend. We'll be there. Southern Fried's where we'll be on Saturday. Friday, not sure, where we'll be. We're still working on all that. And by the way, because, we always tell everybody, dude, not only can you find us over on YouTube at youtube.com/C/Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, or just Tapped Out Podcast Network. If you want to go to the search menu, you'll find us. But you can also see our friends at District and at Southern Fried on their channels they have over there, so you can get caught up before you head out there. Make sure you become, like we always tell you, dude, like the page, subscribe, turn your notifications on. Hell, with ours, become a member and get the stuff early. That's what we always tell you, right, Myron?
Yep.
But then, of course,
where else are we, Nick?
Everywhere if you're an audio podcast listener. Now, if you only listen to the show, because, over on YouTube, we have all of that stuff. We have the stuff where we're doing prize picks, prop betting. We're doing Disney stuff. We're doing comic books. We're doing, all the extra stuff. That's on the YouTube channel. But if you just do the straight show, you can subscribe and, on any Amazon, like Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, iHeartMedia, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, blah, blah, any podcast platform, we're there. Subscribe to the channel. Hey, and if you got a chance, give us a 5-star rating and review. We'd appreciate that too while you're there.
We'd
if you're
love
so
that.
inclined.
Thank you.
So yeah, we always appreciate that good stuff. So man, there's a whole lot of stuff this week, and I don't know, man. I'm eager and excited to see where the E goes with the Wyatt stuff. Yes. So man, I'm pumped. Yes. And it's and I didn't address this at the beginning, and it's not negative, I guess, but I thought a lot of people like tweeting out like, oh, there's the knockout punch, the AEW is done now. I'm like, guys, slow down a little bit. Like, here's the thing. Yeah. How many times have we said AEW is the number 2 promotion in the in the country? You could argue the world, but I would have to see some New Japan numbers to see, right? But I would say you might be correct. But let them be a solid number 2, and AEW needs to put their head right down, keep chopping wood, and be the best number 2 they can be, and get there. They had a 50-year head start on you. It's okay, just let it go.
And they're driving the WWE to do better, people.
Correct.
Okay. They've got a rival now. They don't have to do just anything.
Before we take off, odd question, Myron, and everybody listening, at Tapped Out Pod on social media, but tappedoutpod@gmail.com. If AEW doesn't come into existence, is WWE got their foot on the pedal like they do right now and getting so much better than they were 3 years ago, 4 years ago, for that matter?
No. I honestly believe AEW was one of the seeds that has started to grow what WWE is doing right now. Having somebody else being an alternative has pushed WWE to do better. And I enjoy that. And I've enjoyed every bit of it.
I'm right there with you, buddy. Well, you got anything else before we get out of here, buddy?
No, sir. No, sir, not at all.
Well, what's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing and you got nothing, what time is it?
It's time to tap out.